Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this conference to talk about a subject I'm really passionate about. I'm going to be talking about really bridging the practical and academic aspects of climate change and sustainability through capacity development work, if you like, human resource development. And I'm going to be talking about the social enterprise work of the Centre for International Development and Training of the University of Wolverhampton. A quick overview and roadmap of where we're going in the next 20 minutes, just to give us a way forward. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the International Development and Training Centre. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about our academic capacity development model that we use. Then I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the climate change work we have been doing in Brazil, in Nepal, in Rwanda, and a large amount of environmental and forestry governance work across Africa. I'm then going to quickly mention our showcase of our work at COP26 in Glasgow last year, before talking a little bit about the real importance of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which then leads us into, I think, a bit of a discussion around sustainability in education, which is obviously the theme of this conference. And then a personal plea for what I believe is really, really important, and that is the need for a climate justice approach to the work that we are taking. Let me start by talking a little bit about our CIDT staff team. We're a small team, there's 15 of us, interdisciplinary, multilingual group of staff, all really who are have capacity strengthening expertise. Training, facilitation, teaching, research is what we do, if you like. We're a small team, but we work in partnership with a large number of organizations, as you will see in a minute. And we also work with a large number of known and trusted consultants, trusted associates from around the world, people we've worked with for many, many years. Our strategic plan is this. It's actually a theory of change. And as you will see, it's all about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. You can see them over here on the right-hand side. We have an input, output, outcome, impact model, and that is how we tend to think. That is the way we tend to deliver the work which we are doing. We also have a model around capacity strengthening. On the left-hand side in this model, you can see at the individual level, individual people, if you like, and then an organizational and programmatic, and then an institutional level. And we tend to work on those different levels. But what we're trying to do, if you look at the right-hand side, is really build sustainability by building up competencies, capabilities, and strengthening capacity. And we do this using the model in the middle, if you like, which is really a needs assessment and delivery model, and then evaluation. And that is really around the thematic areas of the work which we deliver. We've been doing this now for a long time in a large number of countries, as you can see. Interestingly, we market ourselves as a not-for-profit social enterprise. We're a part of the university, but we are, if you like, a business within the university. Most of our funding comes from competitive projects, research grants, and consultancy assignments. We have a mixture of income coming in, and that is quite helpful. It gives us an income of between 1 and 3 million a year. Our main donors and clients are bilateral donors, the UN agencies, and a large number of intergovernmental organizations, and the large multilateral banks, plus a number of international non-government organizations. So we work with a wide range of clients involved in climate change work, as well as international development work. I've said we are 50 years old this year, so I have to mention a little bit of our history. You can see we've evolved from a teacher training background, originally part of Wolverhampton Technical Teachers College, through to the university where we now are. And we've come through, as you say, a long 50-year history. We're very proud of that history. And if you like, you can read more about it on our website if you click on this link. We started our work, as I've said, really as a technical teachers institution involved in training teachers from around the globe. That also then led to a whole variety of continuous professional development programs, often conducted in country as well as in the UK. That then led over time to a diploma course, and then a master's course, and then a PhD program. One of our early institutional development projects was in Amazonia, very much related to climate change work and sustainability across the Amazonian forest area. Our role in this particular project was to help strengthen the Federal University of Amazonia, which is based in Belém at the mouth of the Amazon. And it was a fantastic program where we were involved in training staff from the university. And you can see here a group of staff visiting the University of Wolverhampton, talking with our former Vice Chancellor, and a whole variety of activities in Brazil. This was a sort of classic institutional development program, but was involved in training individuals. One individual who actually did a PhD program is now the rector of the university. So he has moved up through the university thanks to his qualification and hopefully, thankfully, to some of the capacity work he did when he was with us. Our passion for environmental work and development work really led us into a whole variety of very prestigious Chevening programs that we conducted between 2000 and 2008. An environmental governance program with scholars from around the globe coming to the UK, spending 3 months with us on these programs. Here you can see on the left-hand side a group of staff, a real multicultural group of participants from across the globe down at the Eden Project, where we had a fantastic time. And on the right-hand side, you can see a picture of them visiting our family house. That then led to a very large livelihoods and forestry program in Nepal, where we were involved for over 5 years. Absolutely fascinating. Again, building capacity of staff involved in this very, very large £14 million DFID funded program. And one of our graduates, Vijay Shrestha, who did a master's with us, became the program manager of this particular program and did an absolutely fantastic job over that 5-year period. Covered the whole country, covered a major part of the country. Here you can see a number of the senior staff in this program and myself, where we had great fun on a sort of management and leadership program for staff from across the whole program, across Nepal. Following the Nepal work, we then became involved in Rwanda, and we were helping with a demand-driven environment and climate change fund that was actually established in Rwanda. And our role was to build capacity really to manage that particular fund. So lots of climate change expertise being shared, lots of sort of financial management being shared. The Make Way for the Doers was the slogan of this particular program, not our slogan. This was the Rwandan slogan, and it was a fantastic program. It is a fantastic program. It's still running. If you click Finera, if you type in Finera, you will come up with the current work which is being done. But we were very pleased to really be involved in establishing this program. And by 2015, it had raised more than £75 million for green projects focused on low carbon development and climate resilient growth across Rwanda. And again, here you can see some of the capacity development work actually going on. In 2004, between 2004 and 2006, myself and a number of colleagues became involved in a large program review of the DFID, Department of International Development, illegal logging program. This is a global program. I was very pleased to be involved in this because this was something I was very passionate about, having seen illegal logging in Papua New Guinea, where I had spent time working, and in Indonesia. Seen a lot of this illegal logging work going on. And obviously, destruction of rainforest is absolutely critical when it comes to climate change work. So we were very pleased to be involved in that review, and those reviews led to a whole variety of capacity development programs which were actually run at the University of Wolverhampton. We had a 6-week course, CPD course, Improving Forest Governance, and as you can see, we had staff from around the globe, Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia, all coming on this particular set of programs that we ran for about 6 years. We went down to Chatham House, where each year there is an illegal logging forum. And that forum is something that we've taken on board and are now rolling or have rolled out across Africa. The first program we had worked with many of our graduates in their own countries across the Congo basin of Africa, and was called the Strengthening African Forestry Governance Program. That then led to a large program really championing forest people's rights and participation, and that was another 3-year program which we had across Central Africa. That then led to an even larger program, a €6 million program funded by the EU and UK, really looking at citizens' voice for change, really getting to listen to citizens in the countries about what they wanted and how they could help improve things, mostly through forest monitoring. And you can see some of the pictures of that here. That led to working with Interpol, some very interesting work, really looking at law enforcement and illegal logging across the Congo basin. Very, very interesting program. In 2000 and 2001, obviously, we were very badly affected by COVID, but we adapted and we changed and the work continued, but with very much a COVID focus, very much helping communities really sort of in the fight against COVID as well as the fight against illegal logging. And we had a review of this late last year. We also had a big reflection and lesson learning online workshop, which lasted a week. You can see all the results of this on YouTube if you wish, but this was the end of this particular program, really drawing out a number of lessons of the work that we had been doing across the Congo basin. We're very proud of the publications and the work that came out of all of these programs, and here you can just see a few of those particular publications illustrated, a whole variety of reports and policy briefings on a whole variety of sort of different subjects really around forestry and climate change and wildlife logging, as you can see. In 2021, we were invited to showcase the work that we'd been doing at the COP26. This gave us a real shot in the arm. It was a really nice thing to be asked to do. We were invited to really go up to Glasgow and show off the work that we've been doing. We decided to have an interactive forum and fly in a number of people from across the Congo to be with us at this, and that is exactly what we did. And we were very fortunate in having a global audience. Here you can see the forum. The headphones are because it was in bilingually in French and English. But we put out a plea really for governments to put money where your mouth is. And we really called on the international community to provide sustainable support for citizen-led monitoring of forests and related climate change commitments. We believe that it's people in the forests, people in those countries affected, who are the best people to monitor what is going on in those forests. And obviously those forests are critically important when it comes not just for biodiversity, but critically important for climate change work. I'm sure many of you know the Congo is known as the second lung of the planet after Amazonia. Just want to say a big thanks to all our African forestry governance partners. You can see their logos here and our donors. As I said at the beginning, we're a very small team in CIDT, but by working in partnership with others, we believe we've had quite an influence. So for 50 years, we've changed from natural resources teacher training through to environmental governance and capacity development work. In the words of the EU ambassador for Congo, we're always changing, always dynamic, always on about sustainability and always on about capacity development work in education. And that's what we've been doing, if you like, for the past 50 years. Two slightly more important people have talked about sustainability in education. Two very important challenges here. Getting sustainable development into practice is a real challenge, but education is the most powerful weapon that we have for that challenge, as Nelson Mandela said so wisely. And it's that really that I want to talk a little bit about now. I'm sure we're all familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. They outline the most challenging issues of the globe at the moment, poverty and inequality. Clearly, they are universal. Everyone's now signed up to deliver them, including the UK. Many people, governments, businesses, civil societies, universities are absolutely key in their delivery. They've become firmly established. After 7 years now, they are becoming more popular and widespread. They've been picked up fairly slowly by businesses, civil society organisations, and many working in education, universities, colleges and schools. I'm very pleased to say in the University of Wolverhampton, we're doing a lot of work related to them. And we talk about our Glocal goals because they're global and they're local. So we've coined this phrase, Glocal. And there's a little bit, if you click on here, you'll see some of the mapping work that we've done across the university around who's involved in delivering on them. Back in 2017, I was presenting some of the work that we were doing at a conference, a very large going global conference in London, which I had the pleasure to be presenting at. In those days, I didn't really know much about tweeting or about Twitter, but someone at that conference took a picture of me and sent out a tweet. And the tweet was very simple. The SDGs should be the curriculum for our future students. That is what I said. And essentially, that was captured and tweeted out. I didn't know much about Twitter. I didn't know much about its influence. I've learned very quickly in the last 5 years how important Twitter and tweets actually can be. In those 5 years, huge progress, I'm pleased to say, has been made in many universities. There are now a whole variety of educational resources available. There are learning objectives, there's blueprints for curriculum research work, partnerships, and all sorts of very interesting frameworks really for delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals. What do they mean in practice for universities? A whole variety of reasons here for them. I think one of the really interesting things to be looking at is the fact that the Times Higher Ed developed an impact rankings based upon the Sustainable Development Goals and are now looking at universities across the globe really based on what they're doing towards them. And I find that really a positive approach. 7 quick steps towards developing what I call an institutional sustainable development approach. And this is perhaps really looking at what our former Vice-Chancellor says is the 3 C's, the campus, the curriculum and the community. We need to get it into all 3 of those. We need to have the SDGs embedded in our campus. We need to walk the talk, not just talk about it, but walk the talk, have our campus as beacons of sustainability. Our curriculum needs to be developed and have the SDGs in, as I've already just mentioned, but we also need to push that out into the communities in which we are working. And that is what I believe we need to be trying to do. Why? Well, many different reasons, and people in this conference have talked a little bit more about this than I have time for here. But students need to be active participants in the world that they live in. Next steps, I believe the next steps are really getting the SDGs into the curriculum in a big way, but also becoming part of the primary and the secondary school curriculum. And I think that's a really important next step. And again, it's been nice to hear people talking about that during this conference. I want to finish by saying just a quick word about sustainability and climate justice. Having worked in international development, I am very, very aware that it is the poor and the vulnerable who are the first to suffer and the worst hit by any effects of climate change. The impacts of climate change will not be borne equally or fairly between rich and poor, women and men, the older and younger generations. And I really want us to think about future generations as well as younger generations, because it's the future generations who really are going to be impacted by climate change if we don't really get on top of it and do something about it now. So I'd really like to plug, if you like, the work of Mary Robinson, who's now become a real climate justice advocate, and the work of her foundation. I think that is a really important, if you like, an approach that we need to be taking when we are teaching sustainability and climate change. We don't really need to talk about climate change. We need to be talking about climate justice, in my opinion. And I want to leave you with that thought. Thank you all very much for listening. It's been a real pleasure here, and I look forward to discussions with many of you in the future, and answering any questions that you may have now. Thank you all for your time.